Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Belief Cast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors of the BeliefCast podcast. First, Craig from Craig Swap & Associates. If you need an attorney, he's your guy. Trustworthy, compassionate, always there when you need him most. Next, Wasatch Recovery, the greatest university on the planet, transforming lives one day at a time. Sandy from Minky Couture, the creative genius behind the most comfortable blanket you'll ever wrap yourself in. Comfort like no other. The visionaries behind Thread wallets. These wallets redefine style and functionality. Dave Philippi from Micro Plus, pushing the boundaries of nanotechnology and scientific research to bring us cutting-edge supplements for optimal health. The Ralphs and the Debenhams, creators of Mori Nutrition and Calm. Because if you're struggling with sleep, feeling stressed, or can't focus, Calm is your answer. Special thanks to the award-winning pianist Paul Cardall for his beautiful music that brings inspiration to every episode. And finally, Gab Wireless, letting kids be kids and giving parents the peace of mind they deserve. Right now, Gab is offering $25 off any device to new customers with no contract required. That's $25 off any Gab smartphone or smartwatch. Just go to gab.com/belief. That's where you'll get the best deal. That's gabb.com/belief. Thank you to all these amazing sponsors for supporting the BeliefCast podcast and empowering us to continue spreading positivity and inspiration to the world. Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires BeliefCast. I've been the host of this for over 7 years now, and I'm so grateful to say that, and can't thank you guys enough for supporting this. It means the world to me. Again, thanks to the sponsors. Love you, and I wouldn't be able to do this without you. And then the beautiful music you heard at the beginning and the end is, again, by my good friend Paul Cardall. He's an amazing man. He's been on the podcast a couple times. He's got a crazy story himself, and I really admire him. So thank you, guys. We're doing good things here. The guests that I bring on have been fantastic, and today's going to be no different. Today, we're joined with Chris Yadon. Chris, thanks for being here.
Hey, so good to be here.
Yeah, so excited, guys. And we're going to talk about a very serious subject with Chris. A little background on Chris. He is the Executive Director at Saprea. It's a nonprofit company dedicated to helping people overcome child sexual abuse. And, you know, I was doing a little research. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 1 in 5 children are sexually abused by the age of 18. That's 20%. That's a lot. It's alarming, actually. And I think you guys also specialize in doing retreats for people for free for people who have gone through sexual abuse, which we'll talk a lot about here in a minute. But what you guys are doing at Saprea is it's an uncomfortable subject, but it's something that needs to be talked about and discussed. And you know that better than all of us. You're one of the spokesmen there. You're also a sought-after speaker yourself, you know, both nationally and internationally. And you consider your family to be your greatest accomplishment. I think we all understand when you say that, but I want to get more into depth of why you say that, because I think that's going to be really cool. You've got your 6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls, and your wife, Christy, right? And you've been married for over 25 years now. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's now 27.
Is it 27? Oh, okay. Well, I've got some old information here.
That's on me.
Yeah, 27 years. Again, congratulations. So, Chris, why don't we start off before we get into all the great things you're doing at Saprea? Let's talk about you and where did you grow up and give us some information on your childhood.
Yeah, I'll try to paint the picture of how I grew up. I grew up in Utah. Specifically in an area of Utah County, right at the base of a very large mountain called Mount Timpanogos. It's a little over 11,000 feet. And I grew up right next to a cherry orchard. And it was Grandpa's cherry orchard.
Yeah.
And the way I can describe my early years of growing up, the word at least I thought at the time, was idealistic. So
Okay. Yeah.
I spent more time in bare feet than with shoes on.
Right.
I had free reign of this area we called the orchard, where I could explore, imagine, do whatever I wanted. I was a latchkey kid, so not a lot of restrictions, rules. Right. I had free reign.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, if you can imagine that picturesque scene, and that type of freedom and that type of curiosity and creativity, it was an amazing way to grow up.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, as I came into my adult years, though, some of that started crumbling, right? And this is where the real story comes
Okay.
out. So in my adult years, I knew things were rough growing up at home, and there were challenges in our family. Had family members who had experienced different types of abuse.
Okay.
For various reasons, I came out, quote unquote, unscathed, meaning I wasn't directly abused in any way.
Okay.
But as an adult, I definitely didn't come out unscathed. So,
Okay.
and I think this really gets to the heart of my story. So this idealistic view of my upbringing into my young adult years and adult years started crumbling as I realized that, hey, what was going on at home and around home wasn't great.
Yeah.
And that resulted in me questioning a lot of things about what I thought, right, and how I perceived things. As time went on, my wife kept saying things to me. She kept dropping little nuggets like, I'm not sure you're actually feeling emotion. I'm not sure that you're experiencing normal emotions.
Interesting. Yeah.
And it didn't even make sense to me because I wasn't purposely suppressing emotions or experiences. But I remember a very poignant moment. I was really close to my grandfather. He was the one that had the orchard.
The cherry orchard, yeah.
And in my 20s, he passed away. And, a relationship that close, you would expect to have the normal things happen around grieving.
Sure.
When someone close passes. And I remember sitting at his funeral and wanting to feel sad, but I wasn't feeling anything.
Weren't feeling anything.
And that was the first time I recognized that while I thought I was coming out unscathed, what really happened in my childhood is unbeknownst to me and not purposefully, I learned to numb.
Yeah.
And fly under the radar. And it kept me out of a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
It had its benefits.
Yeah.
It was merciful in many ways that I was able to not go through some of the challenges that some of my siblings went through.
Sure.
But I was numb. And that's, as a human being on the other side of that, that's not a great place to be.
It's not, and it really represents someone who's hurt.
Yeah.
And so correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing is you got out unscathed in the sense that you weren't directly abused, but there was stuff going on, abuse in the family. And you may have just picked up on that, like something's off. Like kids are very intuitive, and I know you know this. You knew something was off and wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And therefore, but what do we do is when we don't know how to process something, we will disassociate from it, or we'll suppress that and move on. And we do it really well as kids. And we just avoid something that's uncomfortable, right?
Yeah. And, a little bit of clarifications. Much of the abuse of my siblings actually came from outside the family.
Okay.
But how we dealt with it as a family
Gotcha.
was not healthy.
Okay.
There was some abusive behaviors in the family, not sexual abuse. And I'm not going to get into those details. Those are other people's stories to tell.
Sure.
But my parents, we knew, at least I knew from probably around the age of 10, 11, 12, that it was highly likely they were going to get divorced. They didn't actually get divorced until I think I was 21.
Okay.
So any child that's been through a divorce and the turmoil around that knows that if you know at age 10, 11, your parents are going to get divorced and the divorce doesn't happen until 21, there's a lot of negative stuff going on for those 10 years or 15 years. And, there was certainly some domestic violence type things. And I don't want to overpaint what happened, but there was, some physical violence. There was definitely emotional manipulation and abuse that occurred. And I think I'll just leave it at that.
Sure.
Again,
that's fine.
it's other people's story to
for sure,
tell.
Chris. No, thank you.
But for me, the impact, my story of that is I numbed.
Yeah.
That's how I responded.
So when you started noticing, especially when that got pointed out that, you weren't feeling your emotions and this and that, take it from there. Like, did you realize, man, I probably should get some help around this? And then
that was a long journey. And there's been some amazing lessons in that journey because, there's different types of being numb. There's numb where it's like, I'm feeling emotions, but then I suppress them really fast.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
Okay.
I was not feeling any of those, what are often thought of as negative emotions. So specifically anger.
Yeah.
Like I remember as a teenager going, hey, yeah, I remember when I was younger, I felt anger. I don't feel it anymore. Like I've overcome this. I actually saw it as a triumph.
Okay.
That, nothing got me angry.
Yeah.
Well, that's because I was numb.
Yeah.
Not because I had overcome something, which by the way, I don't think you should overcome feeling the emotion of anger.
Right.
We need to learn how to deal with and manage when we feel angry, but I think it's really important that we as humans feel anger.
Yeah.
Same thing with sadness. And that, to my grandpa's story, right, that was the first time I actually recognized something's wrong. Like, I want to feel sad, but I can't feel sad.
Yeah.
I think it's weird that I'm not feeling sad. This is my grandpa. This is his funeral. Everybody else around me feels sad. So that was the first time I think I recognized it. But the first time you recognize things like that is rarely when you start working on them.
Right.
I'm very, very fortunate to have community around me in many forms that were gently nudging me. And then sometimes really nudging me.
Sometimes a push.
To say, and specifically, it's not limited to this, but specifically my wife and my mom.
Okay.
Both pushed on me to say,
okay,
I think there's something going on here. I actually didn't deal with it, quote unquote, deal with it until my late 30s, early 40s.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So, and now that's about 10 years removed from where we are now.
Wow. During that time that you weren't dealing with it, if you will, I mean, did you have feelings of, did you ever feel like you were depressed? And like when you were alone and no one was around, was there this feeling of like, I don't know, this heaviness, if you will?
There wasn't.
Not even that.
Yeah.
It was just
numb.
Just numb. Okay.
Yeah. And when I say numb, I want to be clear that I wasn't numb to all emotion.
That's why
I felt
asked.
a lot of joy. I felt a lot of happiness. And people may be listening and say, oh, poor you. You can't feel sadness. You can't feel anger, but you can feel joy and happiness. But for anybody that hasn't felt the full gamut of emotions, and then later you feel everything, you realize how, in many ways, you're not fully human. You're not fully living if you can't experience the breadth of emotions and even experience what we might think of as competing emotions simultaneously.
Yeah.
And so, I felt a lot of positive things. And actually, there were a lot of benefits of me not feeling those emotions. I'll just give you one example.
Yeah, please.
It really helped me excel in my career. I was in management from a very young age, like college age. I've been in management my whole career, executive management most of my career. And one of the number one things that people that have worked with me say is your stability is safe to me.
Wow.
So that stability came in that nothing would rile me up. Like something was going wrong in the business. It's okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get angry. You know,
Yeah.
those quote unquote negative emotions. And I need to come up with a better term because I don't like the word negative because they're not negative.
Yeah.
But what we sometimes perceive as maybe difficult or hard emotions didn't surface. And in the workplace, that created a lot of safety for my teams, and it served me well. And people would say, you're really, really stable. And I love that.
Yeah. Wow. How did it affect your marriage with Christy in the beginning? Like, was it impacting that in maybe a negative way because you weren't feeling certain things?
Yeah. I mean, you brought up in my bio that I described that as my greatest accomplishment. That's kind of a funny word for it, but I'll tell you why I say that in response to your question. So in the home I grew up with, and at the time I grew up, social science was feeding me a narrative that said the likelihood you're going to be divorced is really high. The likelihood that you're going to use substances is really high. The likelihood that you're going to, be incarcerated is really high, right? All these social science, and they're accurate in those studies, right?
Yeah.
The correlations between the type of environment I grew up in, those outcomes are really there. So that narrative was fed to me. But for whatever reason, luck, blessing, good judgment, I'm just going to go with blessing.
There you go.
I married Christy. And our relationship from day one has been healthy, and that's never been in question. It's progressed, it's evolved, it's matured, it's deepened. But for whatever reason, we became each other's place of safety, but in a healthy, interdependent way, as opposed to codependency, which can often be problematic.
For sure.
So we learned to be individuals who love to be individuals together.
Yeah.
And that's served us really well. So, I mentioned she's been part of that community, and not only does it overcome the statistics, but she could call me on my stuff, and I never questioned whether it was coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
And when you have someone in your life like that, particularly in an intimate relationship like a marriage, that's priceless.
For sure. Yeah. Wow. I mean, I guess if you look at the statistics, how blessed you are and her.
Yeah.
Yeah. How has it helped you, how's it helped you parent, I guess, with your own children? That'd be interesting to understand what that looks like.
So here's kind of a little bit of the opposite story where my stuff as a childhood did come up, right? In parenting, and my kids get mad at me a little bit when I talk about this, but I'm just speaking from my point of view.
Sure.
Right. I like I shared, I didn't get angry, right? I didn't feel anger. The first time that started to shift was actually with my oldest child, when there were certain things that he did, and now they make sense to me because they have everything to do with my growing up.
Okay.
There are certain things he did that triggered anger in me, and I was really immature in dealing with that emotion because I hadn't really experienced it since I was a young kid.
Right.
So it was like I was a young teenager experiencing anger for the first time.
Yeah.
Right? And fortunately, I didn't exhibit outward behaviors that were really, really problematic. I mean, I would get after them, and I'd get stern with them. They describe my anger as I give them faces or looks, right?
Right.
So it wasn't like angry outbursts where I'm throwing everything around the house or domestic violence. None of that happened, right? But what did happen is they were so used to me being calm that even the stern face was very alarming to them. Right? The even if I slightly elevated my voice, they're like, we're going to die.
Yeah. What's up, Dad? Wow.
Right? So that was the first time that I also reckon, and they'd get us into my grandpa's experience. See, and it took me a couple of years to really acknowledge it, but that was the first time I was like, anger doesn't show up, but the little spots it is showing up, I feel very out of control.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, that caused me to start working on some stuff as well. So yeah, I mean, there's some impacts there. I don't know that they're severe. I don't think my kids would say they were traumatic to them. I don't think they were traumatic.
Yeah.
But inside me, I was like, this isn't good.
Yeah. Gotcha. So about 10 years ago, you said you really started to go, I'm going to do some work in this area.
Yeah.
What did that look like?
Yeah. For me, it was therapy.
Okay.
And a lot of informal therapy with Christy, my wife.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
sometimes the best therapy is having a conversation with your wife.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And, I was fortunate. I didn't have to be involved in long, drawn out therapy to get the things to surface that I needed to surface. It took about 6 months of work. So, I know it takes a lot of people, and it's okay that it takes a lot of people a lot longer. It took me about 6 months of actual therapy work to really dig into my childhood and reframe some of those cognitive distortions that had developed.
Yeah.
It's cognitive behavioral therapy specifically, and that worked for me.
Yeah.
But along with that were regular and constant conversations with Christy, and a lot of grace and patience from my family. My oldest daughter, she's my second oldest child. She's now 24. Let's see, she would have been about that time, mid-teenage years. This is kind of funny. She's like, Mom, what's going on with Dad? He's acting like a teenager. Right?
Yeah.
So my family got to see some of that coming out,
Oh,
right?
good.
And I had to basically go back and start where I left off whenever it was I numbed, and learn to mature in those particular emotions.
Right.
And back to the safety of Christy being my safe place. She just allowed me to express and talk and describe what was going on. And that, combined with my therapy, helped me get out, reframe, and then start maturing emotionally in some of those areas that had been missed.
Yeah. Increasing the emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's, and that's a really good message for all of us, is that, getting help like that, whether it's someone you're really close to, like you even said it in the beginning, you felt really safe with her, and vice versa. She feels safe with you. I mean, how cool is that when you have a relationship in the sense where you just, even if you just had that, I just feel safe with this person. I love that you said that and how important that's been for you. But then also, there's no shame at all to go out and get help from someone like a therapist or a counselor or what have you. So I actually really respect that you're always trying to improve. I mean, even though it took you a minute to get there, I really respect that you've done that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, like you said, you consider your family your greatest accomplishment. I mean, because I would imagine that's your priority.
Yeah.
In your mind, right?
Yeah, no doubt it's a priority, but all the narratives that were fed to me by social science growing up and in college have not come to pass for my family. And that's not to shine a light on my family. I just feel blessed.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not going to point to it and say, that's my doing. I just feel blessed, particularly with Christy. She's the oldest child, and she has her own story and things, but we both came into our marriage saying, there are great things from our family. We're going to take those and run with them. And there are not great things from our families we grew up from. We're going to learn from them and let them go.
Let them go. Yeah, I love that.
And that was our attitude from day one.
Yeah.
And it's helped us buck the trend.
Yeah.
So that's why, again, accomplishment's kind of a weird word when you talk about family, but I'm not sure what other word to use.
Yeah.
It's what I'm most proud of
in
my life.
I like it, actually.
Yeah.
Having a strong knit family takes work.
It does. A lot of work.
It does, and that's probably why it feels like an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Because you're putting in work. I know you're a man of faith. If you don't mind me asking, how has that played a role in all of this for you?
Yeah. So I believe personally, and even in my professional work, though we're not a faith-based organization, we believe strongly that individual faith plays a role in healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we should draw on our belief systems, whatever those look like, whatever they may be, religious, non-religious. We need to draw on those core belief systems to help us heal.
Yeah.
And to help us move forward, to help us become stronger. So for me, I was like, in my faith, I was put in a position as a young adult where I had to make a decision. My family was involved in our in our religious faith.
Yeah.
And I grew up in that environment, but there was some inconsistencies between that faith and our lived experiences.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I made a decision as a young adult, kind of like I referenced before, that, hey, there were certain things I was going to take from my family and run with, and certain things I was going to leave behind. I made a pivot, and for me, it was while serving a Latter-day Saint mission where I made that pivot.
Okay.
Where I said, I'm going to be all in on my faith.
Wow.
And it's interesting, going back to my mom, she didn't like that change.
Really?
Well, that's not fair. I should say that differently.
Okay.
She loved aspects of that change, but there were parts of the old Chris, as she would say it, that she missed.
Okay.
And even to her recent passing, she would still
Really?
say that. But for me, I had to make that type of pivot to leave the old Chris behind.
Sure.
It had to be a stark change, and my faith was a critical part of that. I've been able to serve in a lot of leadership responsibilities in my faith.
Yeah.
And that gave me opportunities to learn from other people as they were going through their various challenges that helped. Like my wife says, I'm so grateful you got to do that, because I think it's helped us be better parents. I think it's helped us be a better couple. I think, right? So
I love it.
So learning from others within my faith community,
Yeah.
and similar to my family, letting go of things I think that are unhealthy and grabbing onto things that I think are healthy and using them to do it. And then my personal relationship with for me, with God, obviously is I shouldn't say obviously. For me, that's been a safe place, very similar to my wife.
Okay.
It's always been a safe place for me, that personal relationship with God. And I know it's not for everybody. That can be challenging for many. So that's why I wanted to reframe that.
No, I appreciate that. And thanks for sharing that. It's really well said. What does a day look like for you? Like, taking care of you, like, making sure you're, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, if you will, like where you need to be. Do you have like a certain routine? Would you mind? Let's talk about that.
I have a morning routine, and the order of these things sometimes flip a little bit depending on the day, but all of these things happen in my morning routine. So I'll spend some time, what I refer to as gospel study, and that's studying faith-related materials, most often scriptures of some sort, or thoughts and teachings from other faith leaders. So I'll spend some time doing that. That helps ground me. I pray. That helps ground me.
Nice.
I do some physical exercise 5 days of the week. I'm a 5-day-a-week exerciser.
Nice. You look fit.
Well, I don't know that I'm fit. That's actually
You look fit.
something I've worked on. I've got a ways to go.
Yeah,
still.
right.
But that's a consistent part of my day and has been for 20 some odd years.
Wow.
I do some breathing exercises, most often in a steam room. That's my place. I can connect in and shut out the world and focus on the present moment.
Nice.
So I do those breathing exercises and, I'm a routine guy when it comes to food. So I eat the same thing most days in the morning and then I'm onto my day.
Onto your day. Wow. I've heard it said, and you probably have heard this before, but if you win the first hour of the day, you win the day.
Yeah.
If you lose the first hour, you spend the rest of the day looking for it.
Yep.
So I'm a big believer of that as well. It's a big part of my recovery. It's a big part of my life. I call it my morning meds.
There you go.
Right? I got to get my morning meds in.
Yep. I
got to do my morning routine, and I'm pretty faithful in that as well. And so I appreciate you sharing that because I think those are important.
Yeah. I think routines matter for, I won't say for everybody. Everybody's different, but for most people, I think routines matter.
Yeah, I love it. Well, let's talk about, how did this transition to you getting this opportunity to be the executive director at Saprea?
Yeah. So my career's been interesting. I mentioned earlier I'd been placed in management even during my college years and in my 20s started into my executive management roles. So I spent most of my first half of my career in executive management roles in small startups, tech startups specifically. Yeah. One in healthcare and one boutique CRM. And I'm talking early stage, usually arrived when there was less than 10 people, maybe 15, and then grow it from there, right? That really early stage. Yeah. And that really became a sweet spot for me. I like to build. I'm not afraid of figuring things out. I'm not afraid of trying things. So one of those startups was with a great friend, Derek Maxfield, and he and his wife, Shalane, are the founders of Saprea. And they were having a discussion about who they wanted to start that charity for them or help them start that charity is maybe a better way to say it. And they tapped me on the shoulder. And that was an easy yes, because it was just another startup. It was just in nonprofit. Yeah. And people ask me all the time, wow, how did you make that shift? It's, I think if you do nonprofit right, there are actually more similarities than differences with for-profits. Yeah. And so I took that approach and surrounded me with some solid nonprofit experts to help fill in the gaps. Yeah. And that led to us starting Saprea. It's almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years next month. So yeah, congratulations. Thank you. That's amazing. Yeah. So for those who don't know a lot about Saprea, explain what your mission is there and all, dealing with this really serious and uncomfortable subject for a lot of people is child sexual abuse. Yeah. So at Saprea, we liberate individuals in society from child sexual abuse and its lasting impacts. And everybody has a statement like that. I want to put some tangible meat around that statement. Yeah. So when we talk about liberating individuals, we specifically provide services for adults who experience sexual abuse as a child. Child sexual abuse, most of it goes unreported. Yeah. And isn't disclosed until adult years. For those that are reported, a lot of it gets swept under the rug. That's what happened in my family. Yeah, it got dealt with internally, didn't really get dealt with the way it needed to. Mm-hmm. And that causes a lot of challenges for the survivor. Yeah. Either way, whether they don't disclose it or it gets disclosed but not dealt with. And the result, the most common outcome of that is a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress. Yep. When childhood trauma goes unresolved, the result is post-traumatic stress. And what we know about post-traumatic stress is it's like this little challenge that keeps drops into a bucket. Mm-hmm. And eventually that little challenge becomes really big and then really big. Yeah. The experience of the abuse itself is horrific enough, but the post-traumatic stress from the abuse is infinitely worse for most survivors. And it takes a significant toll on their families, their children, their workplace, their their personal experiences. So because of that, most survivors have never gotten help. And when they do start seeking help, it's midlife.
Yeah.
Because that's when it's taken enough of its toll.
It's starting to really show.
That they can't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
And there's virtually no services for that scenario. Almost all the services in the sexual violence space are the crisis services right after the trauma happened. And those services are critical.
Right.
But we said, no, we need to fill this other gap.
Yeah.
Right. And it shows up a lot of different ways. It shows up, and there's a lot of corollaries. It shows up as suicide. It shows up as substance use. It shows up as eating disorders.
Mm-hmm.
It shows up as mental health diagnoses. It shows up as incarceration.
Yeah.
When you look at the correlation, the statistics, let's just take incarceration, for example. Sure. The two major studies around it, 166% and 172% of women who are incarcerated experience child sexual abuse. When corollaries are that high, we can't say it caused their incarceration, but when they're that high, you also can't ignore it.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have similar statistics for a lot of these other items. So we as a society are dealing with these secondary issues, which we need to. They shouldn't be ignored.
Right.
But if we really want to get to the roots, we need to go down and deal with the childhood trauma. It's not all sexual abuse. For some, it's physical abuse.
Yeah.
For me, it was witnessing some of this, right? Of people I loved. We've got to go deal with that childhood stuff if we really want to actually deal with the issue. Otherwise, the symptoms will just shift from one issue to another, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we help the individual. When we talk about society, we do it in two ways. We have prevention resources that are focused on parents and caregivers to help them learn how they can reduce the likelihood that their children will be sexually abused.
Yeah. So.
And not only understand the principles behind it, but be able to understand those principles well enough that as the tactics change of those that do harm to children, that they can adjust with those tactics.
Okay.
I'll just give you one quick example.
Please, yeah.
Right now, something that's surging is AI-generated sextortion. This didn't exist 12 months ago. Right. It existed, but it wasn't a big issue.
Yeah, right.
So parents that are parenting a teenage boy right now, he's the prime target for criminals, and these are organized criminal enterprises, to take a clothed picture of that boy. And using AI, they nudify or they're referred to as undressing or nudifying apps. They undress the boy.
Yeah.
So now they send this picture of the boy and say, I have this picture of you that I'm going to share with all your schoolmates, with your family, with whoever, right? If you don't send me $200, additional pictures.
Wow.
If they're local, meet me for sexual favors, right? So this is an example. It's like I have to understand as a parent the principles behind prevention to know when this tactic comes up, how do I deal with that?
Yeah.
Right. And so our prevention resources really empower parents to be able to deal with those types of things that surface. Then the last thing is broad issue awareness. And this is where I spend a lot of my personal time. Yeah. I do a lot of media appearances, speaking, coalition work to help change the narrative around child sexual abuse. It's still a taboo topic in our society. It's starting to surface. People are starting to talk about it more. Yeah. But it's still really uncomfortable for a lot of people to talk about. Sure. We have to change that.
Yep.
A lot of people believe it's an issue that happens, but they don't believe it happens in their immediate community. We've got to change that.
Yeah.
And there's a good segment of our population that doesn't necessarily believe it's a preventable issue. We've got to change that narrative. So when we talk about issue awareness and liberating society, that's what we're talking about. Gotcha. Is really helping shape the public dialogue around the issue itself and helping it emerge out of the shadows.
It's kind of like, 30 years ago, you would never tell anyone you're an alcoholic or a drug addict. And it was kind of similar stigma. Don't do that. And luckily, thankfully for so many of us, it's more acceptable to talk about those issues. So that's ultimately what I'm hearing. You guys are trying to hey, we got to do the same thing.
Yep.
Because what is it when you talk about it, you start to know more, and when you know more, you do better.
Yeah.
Right. Something like that. And I agree with that. And so I love that you guys. Sounds like I've watched a few of your videos. By the way, oh my gosh, I was crying yesterday watching this one where, and you probably know it better than I do, but it was showing these kids and these beautiful kids Johnny's gonna do drugs by the time he's 17. Lisa's gonna, try to commit suicide 2 or 3 times over the next 3 years and have an eating disorder. And it was just so poignant. I was like, whoa, very well done.
Thanks.
But it also this is the realities that we're looking at.
Yeah.
So, thankfully that this is your mission and this is what you guys are trying to do. And do you feel like you're starting to see the fruits of your labors, if you will? I know, it takes time.
It does.
But
a resounding yes. And something to realize, and substance use, you brought that up as a great example. There's no single organization or individual that changed that narrative. It was the collective work of many individuals and many organizations, which is why we engage so much in collaborative work and coalition work. Yeah. So there's been a monumental change in the last 10 years. I'm not going to take credit for it. I'm not going to have Saprea take credit for it.
Right.
We were part of that change.
Part of it, yeah, sure.
But what's happened, so you look at something like Me Too. Me Too wasn't exclusively focused on child sexual abuse, but it encompassed child sexual abuse. Big waves like that where it captures the public attention. We saw a stark change just from pre and post Me Too. I'll give you an example. I'd go into a corporation pre-Me Too and talk to corporate leaders about getting behind, supporting us. And they'd be like, oh my gosh, what you're doing is so important. And they'd literally whisper, right?
Yeah.
Hey, what you're doing is so important. But we can't bring that in the workplace. It's too sensitive, right? Coming out of Me Too, that narrative's changed too. It's like, I don't know how we're supposed to help. I don't even know how we're going to navigate this discussion, but we've got to be at the table. So that's an example.
Yeah.
Another example would be, 9-10 years ago, I'd tell people what I do for work, and you could just see it in the body language.
Right.
It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, whoa.
And now I have that conversation. You still get that a little bit, but people are they ask questions. 10 years ago, people would be like, how do I get out of this conversation as fast as possible?
Right.
Today, it might still be uncomfortable, but there's a lot more curiosity around it.
Yeah.
Those are significant. They sound small, but they're actually significant signs of the shift that's happening.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah. I agree with you, because what we work with that here at Wasatch, where, most people coming in here, they have been abused sexually, and we don't avoid that at all here.
Yep.
We go right to the heart of it. And even the clients listening to this are uncomfortable, but it's guys, we're not avoiding this because we're going to help you take back your power.
Yep.
Right. And ultimately that's what I'm hearing you guys are doing. It's because you remember Mr. Rogers back in the day, in his movie, he said, if you can mention it, you can manage it.
Yeah.
And just by talking about it, just that alone starts to put you in a position of power.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Our
Do you see that?
therapists are big on naming it.
Yep.
As they say it, right?
Yeah.
Similar principle.
Yeah, for sure. So describe more. I know you guys do retreats. If I understand, for most people, if not all people, it's free.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, first of all,
Yeah.
because I think that it's also probably a hindrance of people going, well, I'd love to go to that retreat, but it costs this.
Yep.
I can't afford that. So talk about your retreats, and what does that look like if someone was to sign up and say, I need help and I want to go experience one of these retreats that you guys do?
Yeah. Very generous donors that make that possible, right? They're not free. They're just free to our participants.
Yeah, right.
And that's an important difference.
Sure.
A lot of very generous donors that have clearly communicated to survivors that your healing is worth my time and worth my dollars.
Wow, I love that.
And by the way, that in and of itself actually is part of the healing process. There's emerging research around the role of compassion and how compassion actually starts the healing process. Yeah. So that compassionate response that says, someone did something horrible to you. It was unjust and unfair.
Yeah.
I'm here as a donor or an organization or a, friend to say that wasn't okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do what I can to give you a chance to heal from it. So
that's amazing.
So that would be the first thing I'd tell people is there are people that care. So if they're like, maybe I want to deal with my sexual abuse, there are people that care. And that matters.
That matters a lot.
From there, our specific services, we have 4 healing programs. Retreat that you mentioned is one of those 4.
Okay.
It's a 4-day in-person experience followed by 9 weeks of asynchronous learning, kind of a mix between self-service and some live classes that they can take.
Okay.
What I would describe that particular service and all our services as the perfect wraparound to individual therapy.
Okay.
One thing, and you know this well from the substance use side, is we've learned in the mental health field over the last 20 years that many of the problems of mental health originate in isolation, but healing always has to happen in community.
Yeah.
And the individual therapy isn't that community. Individual therapy plays a critical role.
Yeah.
Right? It did for me in my own story.
Sure,
it does for a lot of survivors in their story. But what's missing, or what has been missing historically in healing from sexual trauma, is the community.
Yep.
And so whether it's our retreat services or other programs, they are designed specifically to empower healing within a community. So that no longer am I alone.
Yeah.
And they have amazing outcomes. They've been researched at the university level and by professional research firms. And I don't need to go into that. That's another discussion for another day. But in short, what's happening is the average participant that comes through the retreat experiences a significant reduction in post-traumatic stress symptoms by the 12-month mark.
Wow.
A significant increase in their ability to cope with post-traumatic stress symptoms when they do surface, which leads to an enormous change in overall well-being or life satisfaction.
Yeah.
Right? And no longer, if we can reduce those symptoms, we can increase their coping. They don't have to look for maladaptive coping. Right?
Right.
They're better equipped. So the way we view healing is about learning to manage the symptoms.
Yep.
It's not about eliminating the symptoms, even though we do have reduction in symptoms.
Sure.
Right? For very few clients do they go away completely.
Right.
Most clients still have symptoms.
Yep.
So it's about learning to manage through those symptoms in a healthy way. That's what healing is.
Yeah.
And that's what we focus on.
Yeah, I love that. So what does it look like in the future for Saprea? Like, where do you see yourself in 5-10 years with this?
Yeah, so we're 100% focused on scaling right now. How do we know our programs work? They've been researched to show that they work. How do we now scale and get to as many people as possible?
Gotcha.
We have both national and international aspirations. I won't say they're 100% just aspirational because we've had clients from all 50 states and 31 countries. So we're already achieving some of that. But
that's great.
When you look at the number of people that have experienced sexual violence in this world and the dearth or lack of services available to them, we feel a lot of pressure, positive pressure, but pressure to get our services to as many people as we can. So we're looking heavily into how do we scale. Several of our programs are already scaling, and we've proven the scaling model. So now it's like, how do we fund, because it takes money. How do you now fund the growth of those scalable services?
Yeah.
So over the next 5 years for us, it's all about scaling.
Yeah. Yeah, the more people you can touch and help, that's just going to spread. And like you said, that community thing. I heard it once said that you're never more fully alive than when you're connected.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what you're saying about you're creating this community. You're trying to scale it. You're trying to grow it. I love that. And again, I love that there's, like you said, people who care are willing to attack this uncomfortable subject, but we need to make it comfortable.
Yep.
Right? That's ultimately what you guys are doing.
Yep.
And so I want you to know mad respect for you.
Thank you.
And what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Someone who's gone through it myself. I don't talk about that a lot, but
thank you for sharing.
It means a lot to me.
Yeah.
That there's services out there that can help people who at times feel like there's no one cares. No, I'm alone. No one's going to help me. So that you guys do that, I can't say it enough. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
You're welcome. And a little bit to your story. First of all, thank you for sharing even that little nugget of your story.
Yeah.
We're in the process right now of piloting our first men's healing programs. Historically, It's been for women only. And men, talk about a dearth of services for women. It's exponentially worse for men. There's just, it's almost non-existent for male survivors.
Absolutely.
So that's part of our scaling. We've got to figure out how to get it to as many people as possible. So hopefully those pilots go well.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I love that you're educating people. Here's what you can do, and here's what you can do to help protect your kids, especially with, it's alarming about this AI stuff. And talk about, you got to fortify your life. We've always known that, but man, more so now than probably ever.
Yeah.
And I love it going back to your family's your greatest accomplishment. And I think it probably feels good, though, at least you're doing your best to fortify that beautiful family of yours.
Yeah. Thank you. If you'll indulge me,
please.
I'd like to maybe close a little bit of my personal story.
Please. Yeah.
This might get a little tender for me because it's fresh, but
please.
6 weeks ago now, my mom passed.
Yeah.
And, anybody that's lost a parent knows what that is and what that feels like.
Yeah.
But something happened through that. To me, it was, so I'd known through various experiences that I had learned to feel again.
Yeah.
That I had overcome some of that numbness I talked about. But my mom's passing to me was the first big test.
Yeah.
So let me describe just for a second what happened there.
Please.
So as my mom passed, and contrasting again, I shared about my grandpa, right? That was at his funeral, his passing, that I first realized I was numb. So here I am, my mom passing, similar type of relationship, deep relationship with someone I love as much as anybody other than maybe my own immediate family, right?
Yeah.
And I felt deep, deep sadness. And at the same time felt this amazing gratitude and joy.
Yeah.
And I described it to my family this way. I'm like, there are two amazing things happening to me right now. The joy I felt was the fact that I was able to feel that deep sadness.
I bet. Yeah.
And the fact that I was not only able to feel it, but talk about it, acknowledge it, just let it be without having to do something with it, was for me like a bookend to my grandpa's funeral.
Yeah.
And I felt this deep, deep sense of gratitude. Not because my mom passed. I was sad that she passed. But deep gratitude that I was able to be fully human.
Yeah.
And sadness is not something to be feared. Anger is not something to be feared. Fear itself is not something to be feared.
Yeah.
They're really, really important to us being whole humans.
Yeah.
They need to be managed, not avoided.
Yeah.
They need to be experienced. We need to learn. I needed to learn. I shouldn't say we. I needed to learn to sit with them and just let them be.
Yeah.
and become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that to me brought this amazing amount of joy. So it's recent, right? But for me, it felt like a victory moment in my own journey.
Yep.
That bookended my grandpa's passing and funeral. That said, the work you've put in matters, and it works.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how amazing it is to feel fully human.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. The two bookends, man. That's like beautiful,
Yeah.
right? You know, as I'm listening to your story, obviously, I'm a big believer that life happens for us. And I really believe you are so good at what you do now, meaning, you know, just, I know you're not perfect, but you do really well with your family. You're the spokesman for Saprea, and you're very passionate about what you do there. Yeah. I don't think that ever would even be possible had you not gone through what you've gone through. So I see that correlation as you're talking your story, and I'm over here going, man, this all happened for him, even though it was really difficult at times. And, you know, what do you think of that?
I love how you phrased it, because I thought a lot about this, and it's a challenging thing to think about, because so let me draw on a survivor, for example.
Yeah.
Having served, we've served a little over 6,000 survivors. I haven't found one that says, I'm grateful that I was abused. Like, that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But I've heard time and time again, I'm grateful for the lessons that have come out of it.
Yeah.
And we're not very good at humans in sitting in that dissonance. We like to justify things.
Yeah.
We like to make sense of things. Like, oh, that abuse was supposed to happen because all these good things have come into my life as a result. So it must have been meant to be.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't meant to be. Being abused was not a good thing. So for me, like my experiences growing up, I can be grateful that they've worked for me.
Yeah. I like that.
And at the same time, hold on to the reality that, do I wish I had different experiences so I didn't numb? Yeah.
Yeah.
Those both can be true.
For sure. Yeah.
And we need to, as humans, allow them to be both to be true if we're going to allow them to work for us.
Yeah. Love it.
Right.
Well said.
So that's how I would.
Well said. Thank you. Thank you. That's great insight. Thank you so much. Chris, if there's someone right now listening to your voice who is in that dark space in their life, maybe they've been sexually abused, or whatever, for whatever reason they are lost and they're listening to you right now, what would you tell that person right now listening to you?
There are people that care, and I'm gonna go back to Christy.
Okay.
It may not be your spouse, it may not be your sibling, it may not be your parent, but there's someone in your life that's like a Christy.
Yeah.
Someone. Yeah. And a lot of us right now in our loneliness epidemic are chasing communities, and we're creating a lot of faux communities that aren't actual, real, compassionate communities that aren't made up of the Christies of the world.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a weird movement that's happening, and there's good from it, but there's also some challenges of it.
Sure. Yeah.
But there are Christies out there that are going to call you on your stuff because you need that.
Yeah.
And they're going to love you at the same time. Because when you're in that dark place, whether it's me being numb or someone going through abuse, we create cognitive distortions in our brain that try to make sense of what we're experiencing that frankly aren't true.
Right.
And that can come out as shame.
Yeah.
It can come out as embarrassment. It can come out as anger. It can come out a lot of different ways. And it's okay to feel those things, but we need someone that's going to love us through our stuff.
Yeah.
And so what I would say to him is you need to find that person. A lot of survivors of sexual abuse have found it in our services as they've connected with other survivors.
Yeah.
We have groups from 10 years ago that still interact on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And they've become that source for them.
Yeah.
So maybe you're going to find it in something like that. Maybe it's someone in your family right now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a friend. You got to think, who is that Christy in your life? That Christy for me? Who's that for you?
Yeah.
That's going to call you on your stuff and love you through it at the same time.
Yeah.
There's this concept going on right now around a chosen family in our world, and there's virtues and vices with it. But a lot of the chosen families I'm seeing is we're trying to find people in the spirit of empathy and acceptance that won't ever call us on our stuff.
Yeah.
That's not helpful.
No, it's not.
That's not what you're looking for.
Right. Yeah.
And we take these little nuggets from social science and think it's the right thing to do. It's actually creates codependency and a lot of unhealthy behaviors. Those communities that you're looking for, that chosen family or your actual family or your friend, however you want to define it, need to have both qualities.
Yep.
They're going to call you on your stuff, but they're going to love you through it, and you know that both are going to be relevant and true. That's what we need when we're in those dark spots.
Love it. Well said.
Yeah.
You know, I've learned that feedback is your best friend.
Yeah.
Even though it stings sometimes to hear it.
It does.
It's like, but we need it, right?
Yeah.
No, very well said, Chris. Well, I love, again, your message, your story. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
If someone wants to get involved with Saprea and maybe even reach out to you and ask you a question, or just they need some guidance and direction, what's the best way for them to learn more about all that you're doing?
Yeah, the easiest is saprea.org, saprea.org.
Okay.
So that's a really easy way to connect with our organization.
Great.
Whether it's someone that wants to help us scale through donations, whether it's someone that needs wants services, that are survivors of sexual abuse, we're ready. We're ready for both. We need both.
Yeah. Okay.
For me personally, LinkedIn is where I'm most active.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's, and I'm pretty accepting of those that reach out on LinkedIn. Unless you are clearly a bot, I'm probably gonna welcome you in.
Yeah.
We can connect there. That would probably be the easiest way to connect personally.
Well, and I'll put both those links in the show notes when we go live on that, so they can just click right to it for Saprea and for yourself. But I appreciate you offering that up.
Yeah, of course.
Because I just want, sometimes people maybe want to ask you a question because they're struggling and just get more information. But thank you so much for being here and for taking the time. I always know when these are good, when it feels like we've talked for 5 minutes, and we've been talking over an hour at this point. And so thank you for all that you do, what you stand for. I can feel your goodness, and we need more people like you doing the things that you're doing. So thanks for being that light in the world for us who sometimes are just in the dark.
Of course. Let's keep going to work.
Let's do it. Okay. Well, there you go, guys. Chris Yadon. I said that right?
Close. Yadon.
Jeez, I said it wrong. I knew it right as I said that.
You said it like most people say it.
I always laugh because people always ask, do you ever edit your stuff? I'm like, never. I screw up all the time. And I just want everyone to know I'm a normal person who makes mistakes. So,
we all do.
So I just did. So anyway, Chris, thank you so much. And again, folks, thanks for tuning in. I love you guys. Please share this with your family and loved ones and your friends and your coworkers. If you have someone that you know is struggling, maybe even in this specific area of abuse, send them a link to this episode. It will maybe help them break the ice, and you can follow back up with them and send them in towards Chris's direction and Saprea, and for all the good that they're doing. So I love you guys, and again, thanks for the sponsors. You're the best. And Chris, one last thank you to you.
Thank you.
Till next time, everybody.